and listen to what this guy says about how that line came together.
It was just crazy.
It was a big show. Now, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively have been in the news a lot, and Ryan Reynolds, we want to know, was that an improv or was it scripted, his little piece he did?
That was actually, he had a different line in rehearsal, and he pitched that to replace it. So that was his idea to do it. We wouldn't want to do anything too controversial unless they were in on it. So yeah, that was his line. That was his idea to do.
Oh, well, look.
Ryan Reynolds, the lovable trickster we all admire, just pulled off his most daring move yet. Live during SNL's 50th anniversary celebration. In a moment that left viewers laughing out loud and stunned, he delivered an unscripted remark that immediately exploded online. But here's the catch. Was it genuinely off the cuff or a cleverly orchestrated tactic? While fans are celebrating and critics are outraged, Candace definitely isn't amused. She's furious. We break down the shocking moment that has everyone wondering, what was Ryan really planning?
On the show today, for those of you guys that watched, I had said that looking at the SNL situation, it was my professional opinion that what we were watching was something that was concocted entirely by Ryan Reynolds, because I just see his entire personality type. Now that I realize he's a narcissist, narcissists always believe they can act their way out of everything, right? And his teacher, from when he was 12, emailed me and said that he would basically act to get back into classes when he got, kicked out of the class. And then he would look at the teacher and be like, I was just acting after fake crying. And so I really sort of understood when I looked at the SNL situation that Ryan was the driver on the bus. Well, get this. So there's this showrunner who appeared on some Australian radio show, literally the person who holds up the cue cards, and was discussing SNL just at large, like working on the show for so long, things that he's seen. And at the very end of the radio interview, they ask him, by the way, how did that Ryan Reynolds line come up? Like, did you
remember that jaw-dropping scene during SNL's 50th anniversary? The one where Ryan Reynolds unexpectedly mentioned Blake Lively and had the entire crowd erupting in laughter? Yeah, that moment. We all figured it was typical Ryan, quick-witted, funny, and totally unscripted. But hold on tight, because an insider from SNL just revealed some serious behind-the-scenes drama. And apparently, that moment wasn't nearly as impromptu as we all believed. Here's the revelation. Ryan had a completely different line prepared during rehearsals. That's right. He came up with the new line himself right before going live. The moment that seemed like flawless improvisation, it was actually carefully choreographed. So now the real question is, why? Why would Ryan Reynolds make a last-minute decision to alter his line? Let's take a closer look. This isn't just about one joke on live television. It's about the persona Ryan has been carefully crafting for years, Hollywood's beloved prankster with a heart of gold. Think about it, the clever tweets, the viral talk show moments, the endlessly entertaining feud with Hugh Jackman. All those moments we thought were off the cuff? More and more, they're starting to feel like part of a much grander strategy. Ryan Reynolds might not just be an entertainer. He could very well be a marketing mastermind dressed in a Deadpool suit. And honestly, we've been loving every second of it. Let's not pretend this is the first time Ryan's pulled something like this. Remember when he accidentally let slip the gender of his second child with Blake Lively on Conan? Or when he turned up at a holiday party wearing a ridiculous Christmas sweater that became a viral fundraiser? These aren't random happenings. They're strategic plays in a game he's been winning better than anyone else in the industry. It's as if we've been watching a magician all along. Only instead of sleight of hand, he's crafting headlines, viral content, and internet-breaking moments. And somehow, even after seeing the tricks behind the curtain, we still can't help but cheer. That's how masterful he is. But does that make it wrong? Sure, it might feel a bit calculated to discover that the Ryan Reynolds we thought we knew, the goofy, lovable, accidental viral sensation, is actually a highly engineered character. But let's be real, isn't that what modern fame is all about? Meticulously managed, strategically curated public images. Ryan's just executing it more brilliantly than most. He's not reacting to Hollywood's publicity machine, he's controlling it. And honestly, how many other celebrities could change their line moments before a live broadcast and make it work that flawlessly? It takes a rare combination of charisma, timing, and sharp instincts. Ryan knows exactly how to spin any moment into gold. But here's where things get even more intriguing. How does this shift the way we perceive Ryan Reynolds? Do we respect him more for his branding brilliance, or do we feel slightly misled by the crafted illusion? And what about Blake Lively? She's often portrayed as the perfect co-star in all his comedic capers. But now we have to wonder, how much of that relationship dynamic is genuine, and how much is calculated performance? It's like we've pulled back the curtain only to realize Ryan isn't just another actor caught up in Hollywood's machinery. He's the one constructing it. He's not merely playing along, he's rewriting the entire playbook. And that brings us to one final, slightly unnerving question. If Ryan Reynolds can pull off a moment like that on live television without anyone catching on, what else has he managed to slip past us? Just how deep does this carefully crafted illusion go?
I'm not even judging him at this point. I'm kind of judging us for not realizing that he's like a grade A psychopath and this has gone on for this long, because it's just getting weird now.
Some people are saying, hey, it's good that he went and joked about it. It's, trying to move on. But I'd say the majority of people I'm reading are not okay that he went and joked about such a serious thing. In fact, it actually did the reverse for many. But here they were at the 50th. Now, correction, I was wrong. Blake Lively did host Saturday Night Live 2009 with Rihanna. Way long ago. Ryan, though, has not hosted. He's guest starred. He was in the monologue once or twice. He's made appearances on Saturday Night Live. He himself has never hosted. Now, it's important to remind everybody, why would you show up to this event that's literally run by your ex's husband? It's a lot of people have caught this, and I got to echo it again. This is your first appearance to go out and about after all the drama to show up on Scarlett Johansson's husband's show. Colin Jost, her husband, big deal, big head writer over at Saturday Night Live, and they decided to go into that. It's very strange. It's a very strange look, and I'm partly impressed they did because it was live. They could have asked anything, and I would have heralded Amy Poehler or Tina Fey or anybody who had the guts to say, sit down, dragon. Just something would have just kicked it up a notch to actually be, the Saturday Night Live we had expected to be. But no, it was very safe, and it was very not funny. My biggest takeaway was just how unfunny the Coneheads bit was. Anyway.
We thought we had Ryan Reynolds all figured out. Think again. Candace Owens has just entered the spotlight, and she's not holding back. She's ripping the veil off Hollywood's golden boy and presenting a version of Ryan Reynolds that's a far cry from the lovable jokester we've come to adore. According to Owens, the charming, humble, funny guy we all know is nothing more than a well-crafted facade. In her words, Ryan isn't just clever, he's strategic. And this isn't just empty criticism. She claims she has proof to back it up. Buckle in, because things are about to get wild. Candace revealed a shocking story from Ryan's younger years, one she says came straight from a former teacher. Apparently, when Ryan was 12, he had a pattern of getting kicked out of class. But here's the kicker, he would pretend to cry to get back in, only to later admit he was just acting. That's right. Owens argues this isn't a new trick for Ryan. According to her, he's been playing this role from the very start. And that viral SNL moment we've all been buzzing about, the so-called spontaneous joke that stole the spotlight? Candace isn't buying it. She believes Ryan didn't just ad-lib that line. He planned it. He was in control of the moment from the jump. She suggested every second of that viral moment was part of a premeditated strategy. But Owens isn't stopping with that one event. She's connecting the dots across Ryan's entire professional journey, arguing there's a consistent pattern. Every seemingly impromptu quip, every viral post, every public rivalry or accidental reveal, in her view, is part of a calculated narrative. This isn't just about being funny or relatable, it's about control. So, what's driving Candace to go after Reynolds now? It appears she's on a broader mission to expose what she sees as Hollywood's culture of illusion. And Ryan Reynolds, in her eyes, is the ultimate example of a system built on manipulation, image engineering, and misleading the public. She's not pulling punches either. Owens even went as far as to suggest Ryan might be, in her words, a grade A psychopath. That's a heavy accusation, and it's grabbing attention quickly. But what really takes this to another level is that Candace isn't just pointing fingers at Ryan. She's calling out us, the audience. She says it's shocking we didn't see through the act sooner. That we've been so dazzled by Ryan's charisma and humor, we never stop to question how authentic any of it was. So, what does all of this mean? It's igniting a bigger conversation about celebrity, image, and what we choose to believe. If Candace's claims hold any weight, then how many other celebrities are doing the same thing? How many of our favorite public figures are actually just carefully built personas? And have we, as fans, become active participants in maintaining the illusion? In the end, maybe this isn't just a story about Ryan Reynolds. Maybe it's about our willingness to buy into the dream. Maybe it's about how much we want our favorite celebrities to be real, and how far we'll go to protect that fantasy.
You saw, Ryan, make light of the situation, I guess, try to find some humor in all this.
I'm unaware of anybody, frankly, whose wife has been sexually harassed and has made jokes about that type of situation. I can't think of anyone who's done anything like that. And so it surprised me.
And it leads us to this moment.
It is absolutely surprising. He's spot on and wisely calling it out for what it is. And apparently now comfortable doing some more interviews, given that, Blake and Ryan are out there on one of the biggest stages, addressing, sort of alluding to it when they're trying to tell everyone to stop talking or stop defending themselves. They're allowed to go out on the red carpet and play like their brand is fine. Just that's really what's bugging me about this. Walking out like, oh, have you heard something? What's going on? You know exactly what's going on. And there's a lot of question and confusion and frustration due to what your wife's behavior was. The way your wife took over that movie was shameful. And never because he's a harasser. No, everything I'm gathering, the truth of this story, it seems to be Blake sensed she had a hit on her hands. And as soon as that happened, she took over. Complete control of that movie, brought in A-list producer, everybody else, and steamrolled the entire production from Justin. That's what ended up happening. When she sensed that she might finally have a hit movie, which, let's be fair, she doesn't have a Deadpool. She kind of lost it and had to be meticulously controlling every piece of the movie, which was not her place to do. And then in order to get so, hijacked the movie, threatened everybody, got involved, over-exaggerated complaints. And then when the movie was a hit, but she wasn't seen as a hit, she was seen as the problem, that's when everything went south. She then assumed it was Justin retaliating, which it wasn't. And that's when she couldn't resist. If she had just not done anything this December, not filed these suits, we would all probably moved on. This wouldn't have been such a big deal. But now with lawsuits and texts and all the things that she put out there, Justin is allowed to defend himself. He has, and he's been doing a way better job than your maximum effort. You had to go show up to this show to your husband's ex's boyfriend or husband's show. My God, to go to Scarlett Johansson's house to try to save face amidst all these other celebrities. It is truly, truly.
Think you know your favorite celebrities? Think again. The Ryan Reynolds revelation was only the tip of the iceberg. We're peeling back the glossy layers of Hollywood to reveal an industry not solely built on talent, but on carefully maintained illusions. It's no longer just about the characters stars portray on screen. It's about the personas they project 24/7. And once you spot the strings behind the act, you can't unsee them. For years, Ryan Reynolds appeared to be the full package. Effortlessly witty, endlessly charismatic, and unbelievably relatable. But recent disclosures suggest that his endearing personality may be more of a crafted performance than genuine character. And he's hardly alone. Candace Owens isn't softening her critique. She's labeling Reynolds a textbook narcissist, claiming his charm isn't instinctive but methodically engineered. And she's not merely referring to his film roles. She's delving into his background and portraying a version of Ryan few have seen. One particular story Owens shared raised eyebrows. According to a former educator, young Ryan had a knack for dodging punishment at school. When sent out of class, he wouldn't just take the consequence. He'd pretend to cry until allowed back in, only to later admit he was acting. Every tear, every pout, was part of a performance. Sound familiar? It's as if he's been rehearsing for the spotlight since childhood. But this criticism stretches beyond Reynolds. Owens is lifting the veil on the entire entertainment world. If one of Hollywood's most beloved figures has been playing a role around the clock, who else is acting off-screen? Consider those spontaneous moments we adore. The playful couple exchanges, the witty talk show remarks, the heartfelt charity appearances. What if none of it is truly spontaneous? What if it's all scripted scenes from a production we didn't realize we were watching? Take Jennifer Lawrence's infamous Oscar stumble, the fall that turned her into America's clumsy darling. The internet loved it. It made her seem real. But in light of what's emerging about Reynolds, we now have to ask, was that moment authentic or staged? It sounds like a conspiracy until you realize how extensive celebrity PR operations really are. These teams don't just handle damage control, they architect entire personas. Every trending tweet, every conveniently timed paparazzi photo, every emotional Instagram post is engineered for maximum effect. And we, the fans, consume it eagerly, never questioning what's real. We're not just watching movies anymore. We're immersed in a constant stream of performances, carefully edited to appear genuine. And the more real they seem, the more likely they're manufactured. Owens' claims about Reynolds run even deeper. She argues that the image we recognize today is the result of decades of calculated branding, a lifelong act driven by ambition rather than authentic charm. From mischievous childhood stunts to his smooth late-night talk show appearances, she insists it's all part of a persona, not personality. And perhaps most damning of all, Owens says she has proof, first-hand accounts from former teachers, old acquaintances, and past incidents that, in hindsight, appear less like youthful antics and more like early rehearsals for a fabricated identity. According to her, Reynolds isn't just staging the occasional PR moment. His entire public presence, from every quip to every smile to every viral moment, is part of a long-term strategy that's worked brilliantly. Which begs the question, who else in Hollywood is following this same playbook? Tinseltown has always been rooted in fantasy, but now the boundary between character and real-life celebrity has nearly vanished. The off-screen personas we love are just as refined and rehearsed as any film role. And we've become so emotionally invested in these figures, laughing with them, sympathizing with them, rooting for them, that facing the reality stings. If Reynolds is a construct, how many others are too? Owens isn't just casting judgment, she's issuing a wake-up call. Maybe it's time we stop accepting every tearful speech or accidental blooper at face value. Maybe we should begin questioning how much of what we see is genuine, and how much is clever image manipulation. And here's the difficult truth, we may not want the answer. The fantasy is comforting. It's easier to believe that our favorite stars are as authentic as they appear. But once the illusion is shattered, there's no returning to the dream. The recent SNL incident, where Reynolds reportedly changed a line at the last second, may seem insignificant in isolation, but in this context, it becomes another puzzle piece. A clue that spontaneity in Hollywood may be little more than performance. Every gesture, every word, every viral moment, meticulously choreographed for effect. And that leads us to the uncomfortable question, are we ready to accept that our favorite celebrities might be acting all the time? Are we prepared to acknowledge that our emotional investment has been in characters, not real people? It's a tough realization, but in today's era of branding, marketing, and image curation, maybe it's time we learn to take a second look. Because in Hollywood, the cameras never stop rolling, even when we think they have.